Alright, welcome to Drazi Does. Today we're taking a look at the Fire Mage in Warlords of Draenor for 6.0.3. I'm going to go through the talents, I'm going to go through some of the glyphs, the macros I use, and my basic rotation to get you started playing a Fire Mage. Fire Mage has always been near and dear to my heart. It's been my favorite class since I started playing, and it really didn't get a lot of love in Mists of Pandaria. They brought up the Frost Mage, which was a PvP only class, and they brought it into the raiding environment, and it performed really well. So I was kind of forced to take that over until the higher tier gears where it was arcane or nothing. And it looks like here in Draenor, currently Frost seems to be the powerhouse, and as you're gearing up, depending on whether you're getting that crit gear or that mastery gear, is when you can go either arcane or fire. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting some more crit gear to make fire a really viable spec. Right now it performs alright, it's fun to play with in heroic dungeons, but until you really hit around 50% crit strike, I wouldn't bring it into a raid. You'd be doing yourself and your team a disservice. So let's take a look at the talents here. 15. Now before we get into it, I guess fire is the one spec that you can perform your entire rotation on the move. All you have to do is substitute your Frost Firebolt for your Scorch. Now, you're going to end up doing less damage, but you can keep an entire rotation going on the move. So what I do here is I go with Ice Flows. This is my go-to for every class. This allows you to keep your real rotation going, where you can keep those Fireballs or Frost Fireball, depending on what you chose, in your rotation the whole time. Secondly, for level 30, I like Alter Time. I've talked about it in my other videos, that just a major health cooldown. It's a little, there's more of a learning curve to using it, but the end effect is a massive heal that saves your healers, that can heal that hunter or that warrior that likes to stand in the fire. So Alter Time for my money. 45 does not matter. That's PvP, and we don't PvP. 60, I go with Greater Invisibility. It's a 90% on-demand, instant damage reduction, which for my money doesn't really get too much better than that. If you're questing, maybe take a Cold Snap. It's got a little bit of a heal in it. It does reset your Ice Block and your Dragon's Breath. So take what you will. If you're raiding, you should really be using Greater Invis and helping your healers out. So level 75, I like Living Bomb. I miss the days of every spec getting the Living Bomb. I miss when I play Frost and I don't have a technical dot anymore. So anytime that I'm going to be able to dot something, I'm going to dot something. So Living Bomb is near and dear to my heart, and you can still put it on 3 targets, and when it explodes, it spreads to any target within 10 yards. So it's still a massive spell. Level 90, Mirror Images is really the only choice here. Rune of Power is for arcane. Fire is the mobile spell, so you really don't want, or the mobile spec, you really don't want Rune of Power, because that does pinhole you to one location. If that's your playstyle, go arcane. I'm not knocking you. And Incanter's Flow, still not my favorite unless you're learning progression as arcane. Lastly, level 1, for fire, I'm going to stick with Meteor, because it lines up really nice as your intro burst. It's an instant cast. You lay it down and it gives you time to cast that first fireball and land a Living Bomb about the same time that the meteor hits for that initial burst. And it stacks up nicely with your combustion. Prismatic Crystal, that's arcane in my mind. It doesn't make sense to use for fire, and Kindling is dumb. So we'll take a look at glyphs here. There's 2 glyphs that are mandatory for fire. 1 is optional. Mandatory is Combustion, increases the duration of the damage over time effect and the cooldown of your combustion by 100%. This lines up really nicely with your mirror images. So you can get that burst in, start building that ignite, which the ignite is what you want. You want high ignites, high pyroblast crits, and then you want to combust. And then it burns off longer on your target. Secondly is Inferno Blast. After you combust on a target, your Inferno Blast cooldown is reset. And it's reset for the purpose of spreading your combustion to other targets. Currently it spreads it to 3 targets. This lets you spread it to that additional target. So this is really, really high cleave. Lastly, I go with Frostfire Bolt. This is a cosmetic preference because nothing else in here really. I mean, rapid displacement for 2 blinks is nice, but fire is so mobile as it is. The glyph of Frostfire Bolt reduces the cooldown on your Frostfire Bolt by 1/2 second, making it the same cast time as a Firebolt. But this applies a slow to your target, which isn't going to work on a raid boss, mind you. But I think it looks cooler, and that's really what matters. So we'll take a quick look at macros here, and if you've seen the other videos, you've seen this macro before. It combines my berserking, because I am a troll. It puts arcane power in there and mirror images. Now anytime that I have the ability to be a lazy mage, I'm going to do it. And this macro is the perfect example of why. I can use this macro for my arcane spec, and I can use this macro for my fire spec. So, and it effectively does the same thing. Obviously you don't have arcane power in fire, so it's not going to use the arcane power. This is really the only macro that you need. Alright, we're taking a look at the rotation here. Now there's a couple things you need to understand. Fire is by far the most detailed and the attention-oriented spec of all 3 of the mages. You really need to understand what buttons affect what other buttons, or what spells affect what other spells. For instance, as you're casting your Fireball or your Frost Firebolt, like I am here, you're going to get these procs here. This little proc is called a heating up proc. That happens when your Frostbolt crits. If you get another one to crit directly after it, that heating up turns into this big guy, which is your Pyroblast, which is the meat of your spec. That makes your Pyroblast instant. That's the only time you should ever be casting a Pyroblast. And there's a way to cheese this. Now, if you're casting your Frostfire Bolt and you get one of these procs, let's make this right here. Before that proc lands, you want to do your Inferno Blast, which is a guaranteed crit, which is going to turn that into an instant Pyroblast. Don't use that Pyroblast yet. Continue firing until you get another heating up, then fire off your Pyroblast. It'll turn that heating up into another Pyroblast, and you just continue that rotation to keep those Pyroblasts coming. Now this is all based on your crit, so the higher crit, the more chance you're going to have. You're just going to turn into a Pyroblast turret, which is the goal. So what an intro rotation is going to look like here is you pop your macro, you pop Lust, you drop that meteor, you start doing your Frostfire Bolt, and you apply your Living Bomb. Now I have heating up, summon Inferno Blast into a Pyroblast. Keep going until I get that second Inferno. There it is. We're going to Pyro, then you combust and spread it with Inferno Blast. Now all you're doing is you're fishing now. You're fishing for Pyroblast procs. You do not want to apply your Living Bomb while it is still active. You want to actually give it the chance to blow up, because when it blows up, it does additional damage and spreads to the nearest targets. So never refresh a Living Bomb before it is done being cast. I know that was kind of a lot. You can back up and watch it again. I'm going to go ahead and do that full speed for you right now. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the Arcane and the Frost guides that are currently up. I hope this was helpful. This is Drazi Does, reminding you not to stand in the fire. Just gonna kill me or what? There it is. Have a good night, guys.